is Sarah. Welcome to Food of the Pharaohs. Today I am going to make Kushari, Egypt's national dish. And basically this dish is just layered with a lot of carbs. But you got macaroni, rice, a homemade tomato sauce that goes over the top. Then there's chickpeas, lentils, and then crunchy fried onions. It's probably one of the best dishes you could probably ever have. Let's get started. First, we're going to make crunchy fried onions for our kushari. Before we get started with the onions, I'm gonna just show you a little tip. You want to damp a cloth and put it underneath your cutting board so that way it doesn't slip around as you're cutting. So we have a Spanish onion right here, and we're gonna cut the ends and then cut it in half and then peel it. And I already have one already peeled for you. I already had diced some onions up, so you need about like a whole onion depending on how much you love these crunchy fried onions. They're my favorite, so I would probably do maybe like 3 onions. So we got a half an onion here, and we're going to just dice it up, and you want to slice it. So just slice it first, and then what you're gonna do is slice it the opposite way, so that way you get a rough chop. And that's basically it. Then you have pretty decent size chopped up onions. And then we're gonna just push that over to the side, and we have some cloves of garlic. So I'm gonna do 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm gonna just chop this up as well. And as you can tell, my cutting board is not really slipping, and that makes it easy for you to cut. So you want to just dice this up. Now with the garlic, I'm mincing it. Now mincing just means very small, and you want to just dice that up as much as you can. And if you're not comfortable on mincing the garlic, you can always use a garlic presser. That's a lot easier. You just stick it in the little thing and it comes right out. And all right, that's perfect. And then we're gonna put that to the side, and now we're going to fry it. So we'll see you in a little bit. I have canola oil in this saucepan here, and it's about maybe, I don't know, about like a cup of canola oil in here. Now I have already made fried onions before, so that's just sitting on the side. So now I just kind of want to show you how I did it. So first you want to test to see if the oil is hot enough, and what I do is I take a little bit of the onion and I put it in there, and if you start hearing it to sizzle, that means it's ready, and it's ready. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of these onions and minced garlic, and we're just gonna pop it right into this oil. And you gotta be very careful because you don't want to burn yourself. And some of these onions, diced onions, I cut ahead of time, but we need some of this for our tomato sauce. So we're gonna just keep the extra and just leave it on the side. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stir this up until they get a golden brown color, and that should take about like 4 minutes depending on how high your heat is. I have it on about medium heat, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn it up just a little bit more because I want the process to be a little bit faster. And we're going to just mix this up. And you don't want to mix it too much. You really want to get it to a high temperature, so they get crispy. If you keep stirring it and stirring it, it's just going to be soggy. You want it really crispy. All right, so you can see it's starting to get a little bit brown, which is perfect. I'm going to smell like onions all day after this, but that's okay. And you know, sometimes people, what they do with the onions is they put flour on it, and then they deep fry it, kind of like an onion ring. I don't put flour on it. It's optional if you want to. I just feel like because kushari has so much carbs in it already, you just don't need that extra flour on your onions. So I just cut it up, dice it, and put it right into the oil. Like I said, it's optional if you want to use the flour, but I just prefer not to. And the garlic in this, that's another thing that's my little twist on this. A lot of people, when they do kushari and they make the onions, they actually don't put garlic into the oil with the onions. I do that because I just think it gives it a really nice taste. And actually, that reminded me to do something. I like to put a little bit of red pepper flakes in there as well to give it a little spice. So I'm just gonna do that. Just a pinch, not too much. If you don't like spicy foods, feel free to just leave that out. Another thing too is as this cooks, the onions are gonna shrink when they start getting brown because the steam starts to just disappear. And that's when you know that the onions are gonna cook a lot faster. So at that point, you want to just keep your eye on it. Don't walk away. Come back if you do. Just make sure you keep your eye on it because it will burn. So, and look at that. See, like I said, the steam's starting to slowly disappear. And there's some bits in there from when I made my last batch of fried onions. Also, what's great about kushari too, it is a vegetarian dish. So if you're looking to try something different, this is definitely the dish to eat. I'm gonna put butter in it, but honestly, that is optional. You don't have to put butter in it. Everything's better with butter, right? So we're going to add butter in everything. Look at that, perfect. That's exactly how you want it. So right after this, you want to just take it out, put it on a paper towel so all the oil just drains from the onions. You don't want it really greasy. And also when you do take it out, make sure that you do separate it onto your plate. You don't want to pile it on top of each other because if you pile the onions on top of each other, they'll start to get soggy. If you separate the onions as it's cooling, it will actually help it get a lot crunchier. So, little tip for you there. All right, so we're gonna turn this off because this is perfect. You don't want to go any further. All right, so we have our onions here, our yummy, crunchy fried onions. What I did is I actually seasoned this with some cumin and some salt. Now make sure that when you do season this, make sure that they're still hot before you put your cumin and salt on. The heat actually helps the salt and the cumin stick onto your onion. We are going to make our rice now. So what I did is I put about a teaspoon of canola oil into this saucepan. And what we're gonna do is put a teaspoon of butter in there. So we're just throw that right in there, like that. And the way that we make rice is a little bit different. There's people that do make their rice this way, but we just put something a little bit different in it, and it's more carbs. So what we have here is angel hair. Now you're probably thinking, why is she putting angel hair in rice? Well, you'll see. We need to turn this heat down though because it is too high, and bubble it up perfectly. So what you're going to do is take this angel hair, and you'll see why I put this in here. And you're going to, I'm not going to use all of it, just maybe half of it. Now, if you're making a full plate of kushari, a full like pot of kushari, you want to put that whole thing in there. I'm only using just a little bit because I kind of want to show you what it's supposed to look like, the rice. So you want to cook these noodles until they are golden brown. Now, if you ever had a pilaf, this is the start of a pilaf. So you want angel hair pasta, any type of thin noodle, and just put it in there. And you can see, I don't know if you can see how these are getting brown. That's exactly how you want it. Maybe a little bit browner should be better. The type of rice that we're using is a jasmine rice. You can use whole grain rice if you want to. Any type of white rice is fine. I wouldn't use basmati rice because it's sticky. You want a rice that's nice and fluffy. Now, if you're trying to do something a little bit healthier, you could do brown rice. It might change the flavor of kushari, but like I said, if you're trying to go healthier, you could do a brown rice. But this is exactly, see, it turned that golden brown color. That's exactly how you want our noodles. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour just a little bit of jasmine rice in there. Not a lot, just a little bit. That was probably about like a half a cup. And what we're doing now is we're frying the rice until the rice almost turns like a pearlish white color. Once it turns that color, that's when you want to add your liquid. Now, I always get people that are always like, oh, can you do like, what kind of liquid do you use? Do you use vegetable stock, chicken stock, beef stock, like any type of stock? Do you use any stock? And I say, no, I just use water. Now we are going to make our lentils and our chickpeas. Now we have Goya canned chickpeas, and then we also have Goya canned lentils. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna open these up, if I can. Kind of hard. All right, I'm gonna open it up. It has a little thing there, and we're going to just drain and rinse them, and I'm gonna do both of them at the same time. So we have our lentils that we're going to, sorry if I'm making weird faces because it's kind of hard to open, so we're going to just dump those in there, throw all this out, and we're gonna just rinse it. It doesn't matter if you're rinsing it with cold or hot water. But now what we're going to do is we're going to dump the lentils and the chickpeas in this bowl. And this bowl, we have some salt, cumin, coriander, and pepper. And we're just going to dump all that in there. Mix it up all that seasoning, and then you're gonna dump it into your pot or in your pan. And this was actually the same pan that that we fried the onions in, and this just helps bring out the flavor a lot more. And there was just like a little bit of oil, a little bit of onions in there. You can see it looks good. And you just want to cook it for just a little bit, not too long. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put, I have some oil that I saved, a little of that canola fried onion oil, and I'm going to just do about a half a teaspoon and put that in there. Just mix that up. Now, this is kind of like the fast kushari, because normally when my mom makes it, really, I know a lot of people make it this way. They use the dried lentils and they boil the lentils, and then they mix all the chickpeas and all that together. But I found some canned lentils, so why not? Why not use canned lentils? It's easy, it's fast. You don't really need to worry about boiling it. Just mix that up. And that's basically it. You can smell all those amazing aromas from the cumin and the coriander. It smells so good. I wish you can smell this right now. Alright, and you don't want to mix it too much, because if you mix it too much, you get mushy. You don't want mushy lentils. So this is pretty much done. Like that. Perfect. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna dump it right back in the same pot. And now we're gonna make our sauce, and then it's almost time to eat. So what we're gonna do, in the same saucepan that we fried the onions and that we cooked the lentils and the chickpeas in, I didn't even wash this, because all these bits and pieces of onions and lentils and all that, this is what's gonna make the sauce. So what you're gonna do is you're going to add, again, with that leftover onion oil, we're going to add about that half a tablespoon, we'll do 2 half a tablespoons of canola oil. And then we're gonna add our butter, which is a teaspoon of butter. Put that to the side. And I'm gonna mix that up till the butter melts. And as this butter is melting, we're going to add our onions that we cut up earlier in the show. So we're gonna just dump that right in there. Mix that up. And then we're going to add our Italian seasoning. Now, this isn't traditional in kushari, but I use Italian seasoning in almost everything I make. So we're going to just do, we're going to eyeball this. We're going to do about maybe like a tablespoon or so of Italian seasoning. Now, these onions are going to get sort of brown, not too brown. You don't want them as brown as our crunchy fried onions, but brown enough. I'm gonna turn up the heat a little bit, and you can see the smell of that Italian seasoning is amazing. The reason why I put the Italian seasoning in there with the onions and the oil is because it actually infuses the sauce with all that amazing aromas of the Italian seasoning. So when you do that, all the oils come out a lot more than if you were to make the sauce and then add the liquid and all that and then add your seasoning to it. So this is a little tip for you if you want your seasoning to be strong. This is the way to do it. So you're gonna mix that up. And another thing, I'm gonna add the minced garlic that we cut earlier too. This is about 6 cloves of minced garlic. It doesn't really look like it. They were kind of small. But that's 6 cloves of minced garlic. Once this gets a little bit brown, you're going to add your garlic to the onions. And if you're wondering how much onions is in this pan, I did like about a half a cup of diced onions. So mix that up, and that should be good. It's brown, not too brown. They're kind of like caramelized a little bit. That's how you want it. Not too much. So we're gonna add our garlic now. And if you feel like you need more oil or more butter, feel free to add more, because sometimes when you start adding ingredients, the pan gets kind of dry. So, like in my case, I feel like I need more oil, so we're gonna add a little bit more oil in there, because I do want it to be, brown. So we're gonna just leave this be for like a second. I gotta stop touching it. And we're gonna let that cook, and we're gonna add all these other seasonings to it. Now this sauce, I make this sauce with all of my pasta sauces. This is my pasta sauce. So if I'm making like a meatball sauce or spaghetti or anything, any type of pasta, if I'm making red sauce, this is my sauce. The only thing different is I don't add the cumin and I don't add the coriander. Cumin and coriander are the only ones that is supposed to go in this dish. I know a lot of people, they don't put coriander in kushari. If you're wondering what coriander is, it is actually a cilantro seed powder. So they grind it up and they make it into a powder. So here I have the seasonings that I'm going to put into our sauce. So we have onion powder, red pepper flakes, pepper, garlic, cumin, coriander, salt, and then we also have accent salt. Now, if you don't know what accent salt is, this is our accent salt. And accent salt is great because you can use a pinch of it and literally it will just infuse your whole dish, like all the flavors that you put in your sauce, in your meat, in your salads. This helps bring out every single flavor. It's a little expensive, but it's worth it. So definitely get this. We're going to mix it up. You see how it turned brown? So this is done. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna add our liquid. So we're gonna add our water, a cup of water, goes right into there. Mix that up. And then we're gonna add our tomato paste. Now, you're probably like, why don't you just use a jar of tomato sauce? No, 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 no. Always use tomato paste. First of all, tomato paste is a lot healthier. It is thicker, so depending on how much you put in your liquid, if you put too much tomato paste, it might get really thick, then you might need to add a little more water. This is all up to you. So if you like your sauce thick, you can make it thick. If you like it thin, you can make it thin. So I like my red sauce a little bit thick. So what we're gonna do is this is a can of Hunt's tomato paste. And this is the 6-ounce can, and this is the whole entire can of Hunt's tomato paste. So, but I'm gonna do half of this can. So I'm gonna do half of that. And if I need more, I'm gonna add more. So we're gonna do half for right now. Mix it up. And you don't have to use the Hunt's brand. I just like this because there's really not much in it. There's 7 grams of carbs. It's only 35 calories. There's 4 grams of sugar in it. So it's a little bit healthier than the ones that I've seen on the shelf. So I always go with the Hunt's brand. I'm talking about healthy, and this dish isn't even healthy, but you know what? It's worth it. So we are going to mix this up until it gets thick. So once the sauce is all incorporated into the liquid, you want to add all of your seasonings. So we're adding the onion powder, the garlic powder, the salt, the pepper, all that goes right in there. You're probably like, wow, that was a lot of seasoning. It was, but it's good. So we're going to mix this up, and you can see how my sauce got extremely thick, but that's perfect. That's all you need. Like I said, if you don't want it to be this thick, you can definitely add more liquid, but this is perfect. Now I want to taste test this to make sure that it is good. It's perfect. My secret ingredient for this though, now a lot of people, they use vinegar in kushari. When you go to Egypt, usually in their restaurants, if you go to a kushari restaurant, on their tables they have vinegar and Tabasco sauce, or any type of hot sauce they have. And normally people would make this garlic vinegar sauce and they'll pour it onto the kushari, but I don't do that. I do hot sauce. So I got this Crystal hot sauce. I love this brand. And what I do is I just dump it into the sauce. You can put as much as you want in there, but I'm just gonna do just a bit more. So we're gonna mix that up. And you don't have to put the hot sauce in it if you want that vinegar taste. You can definitely add some red wine vinegar if you want in there, or just some regular white vinegar. Let me try it one more time. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to assemble the dish. We'll be right back. We're finally to the ending point and it's almost time to eat. So I'm going to layer this. I made some macaroni noodles the beginning of the show. You didn't see me make it, but I really hope everybody knows how to make some macaroni noodles. You just boil it, some salted water, and this is basically it. You get some noodles. I added a little piece of butter to it so they don't stick together. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just get down and dirty and just put my hands in there, put it right in the middle of this plate. All right, perfect. And then we're gonna take our rice, a scoop of our rice here, that fluffy rice that we made, and we're gonna put this on top as well. All right, perfect. And then we are going to add our delicious tomato sauce that we're going to just pour right over the top. All that cumin and coriander, onion and garlic, just goodness. Pour that right over, just make it a little bit more. That's good. And then we have our lentils and our chickpea. And I'm going to, I don't even know how, let's take a small spoon, mix this up, and we're gonna put that on top. Now I said this is a vegetarian dish, so you're getting all your protein from the beans. And then also the macaroni is protein plus macaroni noodles, so you get a little extra protein in there too. All right, perfect. And then the best part, my favorite part, we got our crunchy fried onions that we're just going to put right over the top. And you're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot. Trust me, you're not gonna stop eating. Now, what I like to do is I like to add some more hot sauce to it. This is optional. So we're gonna just drizzle that right on top. And then I wanna try it. This is the best moment ever. So I need to get every layer. Now you're probably thinking, oh, can you mix it up? Don't mix it up, because my brother used to always just mix it up when I was younger. I like to keep each layer so you can get every single bite. So you need a little bit of the noodles, a little bit of the rice, a little bit of the onions and the beans and the chickpea. And then we're going to take this bite. This is really good. You can taste every single thing. And that accent salt really just made it so much better, honestly. Like this dish, you're not going to want to eat anything else, because if you're having this for dinner, this is the only thing you're gonna have for dinner. You're not gonna have a salad, nothing. This is it. That's it, everyone. Kushari. Enjoy. For more information, you can contact me at foodofthepharaohs@gmail.com. Don't be a stranger, leave a comment below this video. Also, feel free to like and share this video. And make sure you're subscribing to this channel for video updates.